Welcome in the latest episode of that SEC podcast. I'm your host, Michael Bratton. I go by SEC Mike on Twitter, and I'm joined as always by my cousin Shane, who goes by Big Orange Balls on Twitter. What are you up to, you big Tennessee homer?
Hey, buddy, what's going on?
Oh, man, what a wild and entertaining weekend of SEC football that we just experienced. Shane, this is when it gets good. When it's conference on conference, we're going into these games saying, oh, Missouri, they ain't got a damn prayer. We got two undefeated showing down. We got upset specials. I mean, this is the prime. This is the first weekend we've had like this, and they're basically all like this the rest of the way. I couldn't be more fired up. How about you?
I couldn't either. Like you said, who would have thought Missouri and Georgia would be a ball game? Mm-hmm. And there I am at the end of it. Come on, baby. Is this it? Everybody, I had to delete all the content I had for my upset, but it was a hell of a matchup, and that's what we love about the SEC, that old cliche, it's any given Saturday. That's the facts, man. That's what we're dealing with. That's what we got to see. Alabama, Arkansas, great game. Ole Miss, Kentucky, great game. I mean, there were just so many great games Saturday. I just didn't want it to end, brother. Yeah. I couldn't go to sleep. I swear, after the Georgia-Mizzou game, I'm just sitting there just bug-eyed, just looking at my phone and reading the tweets. And I've been there, Mike. I've been there, and I feel bad for those fans. I'm talking to you Arkansas fans. I'm talking to you Mizzou fans. I'm talking to Auburn fans out there. I'm talking to all the losers, Texas A&M fans. Been there, okay? Tennessee, we've lost a lot of games. And then you start picking it apart, and you find a little penalty here, and you put your video up, and you're like, well, why wasn't this called, Is that part of it, Mike? I feel bad, but that's what I kept watching all night. It's like, damn, that was a holding. Oh, it was a face mask,
Yeah. Oh, no doubt. I mean, anytime you look at a certain play, key play, this could happen, that could happen, but, really, there's so many of those in a football game.
Yeah.
Unless it's Bo Nix throwing the ball backwards to spike it. I don't think you got much of a case on a lot of those because like I said, for every one of those you find, the opponent can find two more. You know what I mean?
Right. No, and I think it's part of the process. When you lose, it's like the 12 steps. One of the steps is finding shit the refs missed, I mean, it's a tale old as time, So I hate it for those guys because I've been there. But on the other end, man, there's some sweet-ass victories yesterday too.
Right. So let's get right into it, Shane, because the biggest matchup in my mind going into the weekend, Ole Miss, Kentucky, showdown of undefeateds, one stands. And it's Ole Miss, Shane, 22-19 over Kentucky. Very entertaining game. Went down to the wire. And how about this Ole Miss defense, Shane? I mean, we had to hear time and time again, Will Levis, number one overall pick. And hey, maybe I go a little too far with it, Shane, with the online, with the Twitter. I mean, I'm just putting out jokes, but it's just over the top. He's a great college quarterback. He may be the next Dan Marino. I wish him the best, Shane, but I don't know about you, but it kind of like ruins the broadcast when I got to hear 20 times what an elite NFL prospect this guy is and how there's an unnamed scout says he's going to be the number one pick, on and on and on. And you catch it. We'll get to Lane Kiffin at the end of this, but Lane Kiffin's poking fun of it too because he knows we only we gave up 19 points to the number one overall pick in the draft. I think it's motivating defenses to go up against him. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I see where you're coming from, but, if that's your guy, I'm going to tout him as well. We made jokes. I think, what did they say? That's a pro throw, like he threw. It's like, what?
I said that was an NFL fumble when he coughed up the ball to lose the damn game.
Well, probably people that weren't watching that game had no idea what you were talking about, but that was what he was referring to. It's an adjective that they like to use to describe Will Levis. Will Levis is a great quarterback. Did he make some terrible mistakes during this game? Absolutely. I don't think it is because of the added pressure, but, I mean, you do wonder. But, I mean, you fast forward later in the day, we listen to Gary just loathe Bryce, I mean, it's just he's God's gift to quarterback. So it's just I don't know, man. This is what you want your program to have is NFL talent, and especially at quarterback. I mean, they've not had that since Couch, So
Right.
this is good. This is good for them. But can this be the last damn time we watch this game at noon, Mike? I mean, there is no reason that this game should have been played at 12 o'clock. This should have been a 7 o'clock game or 3:30 game because it was fantastic like it always is, man. It was a great game.
Well, I hate to ruin it. I mean, we'll talk about this at the tail end, but next week we've only got one showdown of ranked opponents, Shane. It's at noon, 11 Central, Tennessee LSU. So, no, this is here to stay. But let's stick with Will Levis for a minute, Shane. 18 of 24, 220 yards, 2 touchdowns, but he did have a key fumble. He did have a safety. We got Chris Rodriguez back in action. He lived up to the billing, Shane. 19 carries, 72 yards, and a touchdown. But this is what we were saying, Shane. I mean, Chris Rodriguez, as great as he is, he's not playing offensive line. And Kentucky only rushed for 108 yards, 2.9 yards per carry. This ain't going to get it done. This is what we're saying time and time again. The offensive line is going to cost you in these SEC games. And it came down to, a final possession there. Kentucky did score, but there was a legitimate illegal motion. A receiver was not set at the snap. I believe that was freshman Dane Key. That's part of the reason why a lot of these coaches don't like to play freshmen in key situations.
Mm-hmm.
Mistakes. And then right after that, the right tackle, blown block, strip sack. That's a ball game right there. So,
yeah.
I mean, look at the Kentucky drive chart at the end here, Shane. Turnover on downs, fumble, ball game. And there was an opportunity. One guy we do got to shout out. I mean, I don't know how the rest of the SEC slept on this kid. I mean, he was a touted prospect, but Berrien Brown, 4-star from the Nashville area, 2 catches, 81 yards. He is, they got
special team player of the day. I mean, Kentucky had terrible special teams, but don't you put him on there?
I don't put it, no, because they lost the game, Shane. And I'll tell you why, because he tripped up 164 kick return yards, 275 all-purpose. I mean, he's incredible. He's got to be freshman All-American, but I did want to mention that, Shane. I mean, he should have had a kick return touchdown, but he got tripped up by his teammate.
Yeah, but on like the 40-yard line.
But listen to this, Shane. Kentucky never scored again. So, I mean, that could have been the game decider right there. You know what?
Kentucky didn't lose because of him. In fact, Kentucky could have lost by more if it wasn't for him. There was plenty of opportunities that he got him in the red zone or close near to it. So, no, he's my special teamer, man. And just because he's electric, and I was watching the game and I was thinking, man, they got to find more ways to get him the ball, get him in space. I always think about my Cordero Patterson. They orchestrated ways to get him in those little spots. Another one was that Texas A&M guy, Kirk. It was just, he's one of those dangerous athletes. And then lo and behold, they do it, and he almost scores a touchdown again. So, okay, maybe that's the award we'll give him. Almost scored, So nobody almost scored more than he did Saturday. But the fact of the matter is, you're walking away from that game. I don't know about you, Mike, but this is my personal opinion. I'm walking away that game if I'm a Kentucky guy, I'm like, shit, this offensive line, people have been telling me for weeks, and I kept ignoring it, but this offensive line is straight garbage. And they're getting my quarterback killed. Forget if he's a pro or not. He probably would be if he had time to sit back there and go through his progressions, but he doesn't. He's in survival. It's like Survivor Island back there. Yeah. But then you got Rodriguez. There's a little hope, because I think it kind of balanced this team out. People couldn't just sit back there in the second half. Couldn't pin their ears back because it's a guy you had to account for. So there are some good things. But Kentucky blew this game multiple times, man. There was multiple opportunities. And then you go to the other side of the ball. Ole Miss, Judkins, there should be more people talking about how great this running back is. He is absolutely phenomenal, and he is young, and you got him for a while. I mean, they're just freaking dangerous back there in the backfield. But then you look at Dart. I don't know, man. I mean, how many weeks are we in? I get it. Ole Miss is undefeated, but barely. And that guy out there with eye paint, you should come out with eye paint if you're like 50% completion and you got more interceptions and you do touchdowns. Mm-hmm. I mean, you should come out there ready to play and be a team player. But you don't deserve the centerpiece just yet, because I tell you what, Dart about cost that game.
Yeah. Very, very inconsistent. Shane, early in the game, he was firing. And
yeah.
I think that's more of a testament to Lane Kiffin studying up his Kentucky defense and saying, all right, we got A, B, and C. We're going to be able to slash these guys for some big plays. But once Kentucky's defense starts settling in, man, it was overthrows. It was dropped interceptions. It was living life on the edge, with old Jackson Dart. So they have got to get that cleaned up, because they are going to have some tough ball games upcoming on the road that he plays like he did on Saturday. They're going, like you said, they're going to lose some football games. But Quinshawn Judkins, you mentioned the freshman, another freshman All-American, in my opinion, 15 carries, 106 yards, a touchdown. How about Malik Heath, Shane? 6 catches, 100 yards. We said Ole Miss not really have those targets that scares Kentucky. Well, he scared the hell out of me watching him on Saturday. He was very, very productive. And how about this, Shane? Assistant Coach of the Week, Chris Partridge, Ole Miss defense. Man, again, I mean, 19 points. We know Kiffin with his troll comment there, but that's exactly what it is, man. They're making plays on 4th down to get stops. They're forcing turnovers. They're getting safeties. Imagine, Shane, Lane Kiffin program. We all think high-flying offense, and we say, okay, defense, go win us a ball game. But that's what they did in year 3 of the Lane Kiffin era. It's the defense that, as good as the offense running game is, the defense is what's winning them some of these games. You know what?
Absolutely. And he called out that fan base, and boy, they showed up. Hey, it may have been a new game, and there may have been a couple of rowdy fights in the stands, but I'll tell you what, Ole Miss was loud, and they were a factor too. So it was just all around great game. I hate that it was wasted at noon and people didn't get to see it. And I'll tell you what drove me the bonkers is this damn baseball batter. What is his name?
Judge.
Yeah. Because they keep putting it in, and I was watching it, and I had to go. I was out of beer, so we were going to go get some beer, and I'm driving. I wasn't drinking at the time because it was a noon game, thank God. But I'm driving down, and I'm playing it on my phone, and then all of a sudden the Judge thing comes in, and I'm like, I can't hear it. I'm going off audio. I can't watch it and drive, and then I'm like, this guy, what are we doing, ESPN? If I wanted to watch the damn Yankees game, I'd be on the Yankees game. You know what I'm saying? It's not like this channel does not exist. Well, maybe if you're a Sling or Dish owner, but, but other than that, it should be there. And I don't understand why they're force-feeding the SEC a baseball game in New York. Nobody cares. If they did, they'd be, like I said, they'd be watching the thing. So anyway, that's my 2 cents. I later found out I could watch it on the SEC network and don't get interrupted by that, but that should not be a thing, Mike.
No, this is two weeks in a row.
You always say, what grinds my gears? That's what grinds my gears right there.
I literally didn't even know it was baseball season till last week when they did this garbage then. You know what?
Oh, yeah, and they kept talking about like, well, he's probably going to strike out again. Well, there's his parents. And I'm just like, man, wait, I'm trying to watch or listen to the Kentucky game. But anyway.
And Chris has done a great job and, rallied the guys, and we've been very multiple at what we've played. And, that's a top 10 team without their running back. So he wasn't playing before, and y'all had him ranked in the top 10. So with him, obviously they're even better. So, that's a big time, defensive day, especially at the end.
Coach, what does it mean for you and the staff to see this group win this game the way that they did? That term, finding a way to win. When you see a team perform like that, what do you think that does for the team going forward and just seeing their performance today?
Yeah, I think, the game obviously could have went easier if we score there and, go up 2 scores when we're down there and, we go for it, which, that's analytics. I'm sure a lot of people didn't like that, but 6 points doesn't do you a whole lot of good comparable, to leaving a team down there or going up by 10. So, to see that would have been a lot easier. So I would have liked that better. But when these happen like this, it brings your team together, and people got to rise up and they got to make plays. And it was cool because the defense made a play that some people say, okay, well, we won the game. Well, no, there's still 2.5 minutes. And they did it again, which was huge. And,
Coach.
A really good quarterback. I mean, their offensive coordinator said he's the first pick of the draft. So, that's pretty good defense to hold 19 points with the first pick of the draft.
Mark, obviously the two played almost for Will. How do you assess how Will played and also how you guys protect?
Yeah, I think, again, I think same thing I've been saying. I thought at times he played exceptionally well. Protection was pretty good. With this structure, there were times he was maybe holding the ball a little bit, you'll watch tape and it'll be easy once you watch the tape to say, hey, you could have went with the ball here, now, or there. But, for him, there's a lot of moving pieces, a lot going on. He's playing very good football. If we get our guys set, he throws a dime and wins the game, and everybody's saying, wow, pretty impressive, to lead us back on 2 drives late in the game there. So not sure on the very last fumble, what happened on the protection there.
Let's get back in it before you go too off the rails here, Shane. We mentioned it. Georgia 26, Missouri 22 in the night game. We were laughing at what a competitive ball game this would not be. I took Missouri in the points, but I took it by a hair of a point. You know what I mean? So it's not like I had a ton of confidence this was going to be a competitive ball game yet. Man, as this thing went on and on and on, Shane, it felt like Missouri might pull the stunner of upsets here in the college football season. Georgia didn't score in the ball game, Shane, until there was 8:53 remaining in the first half, and it was just a field goal. They didn't score a touchdown until there was 14 minutes left in the entire game.
Yeah.
I mean, Georgia's offense is, I don't know what's happened to it, Shane, but, minus a playmaker here or there on the outside, they've got nothing outside of the amazing tight ends, Darnell Washington and Brock Bowers, and as good as they are, it's hard for them to consistently stretch defenses. That's a real issue. But my special teams player of the week, Shane, I know they lost the ball game, but our guy, Harrison Mevis, no warm-up
You won't give my guy special teams because they lost, yet all of a sudden you're like, well, he redeemed himself this week.
This guy missed a 29-yard field goal last week, Shane. This week comes back 41, 49, 22, 52, 56. Perfect 5 for 5. He's the only reason Missouri was in this damn game, and they nearly pulled off the stunning upset. Yeah, I got to give it to Harrison Mevis for just the combination of the entire story there.
You know who didn't miss a 23-yard kick last week? He worked. No, I'm just kidding. All right. I'll give it to you. He was dynamite. He had me a little worried. I think that first one was like a knuckleball. It's like, ooh, he's got the shakes, but
yeah.
he bounced back and he was smashing them, man. He could have hit them from 70 yards, I think. So, what a great game. This was a great game. And I, who I thought was special was that defense of Mizzou. They were tenacious. They were fired up. They had their ears pinned. They were back in that backfield. Stetson was running he's sore, man. I'm telling you, he is sore as shit today because he was running for his life. Kudos to the game plan, the game script. They allowed Georgia to get some yardage, especially the first couple of quarters. But it was that bend, don't break mentality. I mean, when it got in the 20, they bowed up and made them kick field goals. So, it was close, man. It was almost one of those biggest upsets. They were showing the stats. Eli hasn't had Mizzou hasn't had a top finish in 46 games. Beat the top team in 46 games or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just making that stat up. But I saw it there at the end. There was something, you know how they do. ESPN, they got all these things they wanted to key up and make it entertaining. And that's exactly what happened. But, man, there was a brief moment. Georgia fans were panicking. And I think that's what great teams need. I think the Georgia Bulldogs, as much as people have been petting them, we don't do it so much on this show just because we get called out on it sometimes. But they're great. They're a great program. The They could do anything. They could win a national championship. But I think it's humbling games like this they got to have because, some of those they didn't have last year. And I think it hurt them in the SEC championship a little bit. So this was a game they needed to kind of wake up. Kent State, we talked about it, but this one got real serious when you don't have the lead most of the game.
Right. And this is what's supposed to happen, Shane, when you go on the road in conference play to a night opponent. Anything can happen on the night on the road in the SEC. And, one play that is going to get overlooked, not by Georgia fans, but maybe the rest of the SEC. There was a play in the second half, Missouri breakaway, looked like it was going to be a touchdown. But the true freshman who had the amazing interception in the Oregon game, Malachi Starks, he never gave up on the play, made the tackle. Missouri down to like the 1 yard line. They had to settle for a field goal on that possession. After that tackle. And of course, we're talking a 4-point ball game. I mean, that swings you the game right there. So, it's championship type plays on the road. You cannot overlook that one. But like you said, offensive line was an issue. Missouri was winning the point of attack, Shane. And let me ask you this. Something, we kind of overlooked perhaps. Sam Pittman's been gone for quite a while. The lack of recruiting and developing of an offensive line, I'm not sitting here saying, where this is Kentucky's offensive line or anything like that, but how big of a concern is that? Maybe this is, a big drop-off on the offensive line in Athens, and does this even open the door perhaps, Shane? I know it's just one game. Well, not really, Shane, because remember, this time last week we were talking Kent State, and all these Georgia people jumped on us. What the hell are you talking about? We did this and that and this, and it was a great game. Well, hell, Kent State nearly made it a one-possession game late in the fourth quarter. So this is 2 games in a row now, Shane. Does that open the door for the possibility? I mean, 2 weeks ago we were saying, my God, Georgia, they may not lose a game by more than, no one's going to come within 30 points of them. Now Tennessee, I know Kentucky just lost, but hell, if Kentucky plays better, they host Georgia. Who knows? I mean, if I'm the rest of the SEC, I'm looking at this and saying, hey, we got a shot here.
Yeah. Well, I think it humanized them. I think one of the things when you think of an Alabama or something like that, they just seem at times untouchable. Yeah. And sometimes they get into your ears. And Georgia kind of created that last year, and they started like crazy this year. The first 3 weeks, nobody wanted to play Georgia. Right. But now you're watching, like I said, the Kent State. You're watching the Mizzou game, and you're like, well, if we play right, we can win this thing, and that's the last thing you want to give team is hope. You want them to come in there like, shit, we're going to get our asses handed to us. That's the mentality. We're going to try to keep this close. That's how you play Georgia and Alabama right now. But after these last ones, I saw so many volunteer fans tweeting off saying, hey man, we got a shot here. That's not what you want, because that's how the players are going to feel too when they watch the tape of this game.
Yeah, and what about if you're a Missouri fan, Shane? I know, there's literally no value in a moral victory, but here a week or so ago we were saying, my God, we got to get rid of drink, and this is god-awful. Now, hey, this is not a team that's given up on their coach here. This is a team that was doing everything it could, and had they converted at the tail end of this game, maybe they do knock off Georgia. And I am not, some people I saw questioning, why the hell are we throwing the ball all over Georgia? We're unsuccessful. We're going real quick 3 and out. But, man, you can't play timid against Georgia to beat them. You have got to go for the throat, play aggressive. Didn't work out for you. But Brady Cook, 20 of 32, 192 yards, a touchdown. This was arguably his best performance. He's getting a little bit better, getting more confidence. Dominique Lovett, Shane, he got hurt. He did not return. He still leads the SEC in receiving. We'll kick it over to Drink in just a minute, but I thought it was interesting. He said, well, he wanted to play, but we're going to protect our players. Unlike the Miami Dolphins. He didn't say that last part, but, once you see that what happened to Tua, it puts things in perspective. We're not going to be risking people's lives out here so that we can knock off the Georgia Bulldogs. We want our players healthy for the entire stretch run here, but this team is still fighting hard for him.
Dude, I got to apologize to Lovett. I mean, I talk too much about Luther, and nothing against Luther. I love the idea. I think he's going to be a great athlete. He's done a lot of great things for Mizzou already. But Lovett is the best receiver on that team right now. And when I think that's the biggest injury of the day was Lovett getting banged up halfway through. I think he was the one that was able to stretch the field, keep Georgia honest, and they kind of lost a little bit of that. So, I hope he bounces back, but little things like that gives you hope. As far as Mizzou, yeah, we were down with the Auburn game, but again, that's a game they could have won. They should have won.
Yeah.
This game is another game. They were in the fourth quarter with the number one team in the country, and you got them up against the ropes, and you lost your best receiver. I think that's why you lost the game. It's nothing against, I didn't like some of the play calling. Some of it was a little high schoolish, I thought, the double reverse passes and all that stuff. Let's get away from that. I thought, but at least they threw everything at them. They didn't leave anything on that field. And I think if you're a Mizzou fan, you're thinking, hey man, we went toe to toe with the national champs. And we got talent on this roster. And what I like about Mizzou is their schedule. They got Florida coming up. They've got Vanderbilt coming up some point. They got, who was the other one? South Carolina. These are winnable games, man. And if you're going toe-to-toe to Georgia, there's no reason those games can't be competitive. So you have an opportunity, if you're Coach Eli, to get this fan base back and go on a 3-game winning streak. Going into Kentucky, I mean, think about that. If Mizzou is hot and going 3 games into Kentucky, who knows what happens? So this was a wake-up call. This is a rally call, whatever you want to call it. This team came to play, and they didn't, like I said, they didn't leave anything on the field.
Right.
Eli, is learning to finish, how hard is that to do with a group that hasn't quite done it yet in a game like that?
It's 2 games in a row. We just got to learn to finish. We got to keep putting ourselves in those situations. Proud of the fight, beat to hell, but no quit, next guy in mentality, and we're self-inflicted wounds away from winning that game.
Eli, what's your message to the guys in the locker room after that?
Press on. Press on. That's what you got to do. You got to press on. A lot of football left. Nobody feels sorry for us. Press on. We got a lot of things to build on. Our football team's coming together. Press on. That's what we're going to do.
Eli, what was working so well from the defense for most of the game there?
I mean, we were hitting, we were physical, we forced turnovers, we were, pressuring them. Blake's doing an outstanding job. I mean, Blake's doing a great job. Our defense is playing well. They responded to him and the coaching and gave us a chance. Probably are. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't think Dominic played in the second half. I mean, just how much changed without him?
A lot. Yeah, a lot. Yeah. Unfortunate. He was doing everything he could to give us to go and was wanting to go. But, as we learned this week, you got to protect players from themselves.
Well, and speaking of injuries, Shane, I hate to do it, but hey, we got some big injuries around the league, and we have got a sponsor, Guardian Brace, that sponsors the weekly injury update. Again, courtesy of Guardian Brace. Guardian Brace, Shane, developed a new generation of knee braces called Rehabilitators. Rehabilitators are rehabilitative wearable technology engineered to reduce and eliminate knee pain, Shane. And this is the best part. All you got to do, put on the brace 3 hours a day for 90 days. Get rid of that chronic knee pain, bone-on-bone issues. Maybe you got an old ACL injury. If you're trying not to have surgery, Shane, this is a great alternative. The Guardian Rehabilitator could be your solution. Check them on out, freebody.io, for a risk-free 30-day free trial. Won't cost you a thing, Shane. How great is that? Covered by insurance. Give them a call, 727-526-0108. And why I bring that up, Shane, we're about to talk about the Alabama game, but, man, Bryce Young knocked out of this game. It looked like he may have been available to go back in. He had his helmet on and everything, but Saban says after the game, sprained AC joint. Now, there's 5 different grades of AC joints, but look at their schedule coming up here, Shane. A&M, at Tennessee, and Mississippi State. Those are the next 3. they probably gonna need Bryce Young for at least that Tennessee game and probably that Mississippi State game. So that's pretty big. But maybe they get a little bit of a break because Mac Johnson, he got hurt for Texas A&M, looked like a thumb injury. So that's a big showdown. I mean, it would be really unfortunate this Alabama A&M game if both starting quarterbacks couldn't go. But that is going to be a huge storyline to watch. The other big game we got, Shane, LSU quarterback Jaden Daniels. We'll get to that game in a minute, but he got injured, did not return to the game. They got Tennessee this week at home. And speaking of Tennessee, Shane, Cedric Tillman revealed he had that tightrope surgery on his ankle.
Yeah.
That's to expedite his recovery and get him back on the field. But he had that during, I think, the Florida week. So, they're hopeful that he can play it at Alabama, at LSU, if not Alabama. But again, that's a tough one, Shane, because they say Tua came back in 20-some-odd days. Well, he's a quarterback. And he's not running out there. He's not making these cuts. And when Tua came back, they played horribly and they lost. You know what I mean? So it's like that. That is not a great example. So hopefully he's good to go. Maybe every injury is different. Every athlete's different. And one more, Shane, we'll tackle with this game here. Arkansas quarterback KJ Jefferson hit his head. Did not return to the game. They got Mississippi State this week, brother. So, man, this is a tough position to be in here if you're the Arkansas Razorbacks. But even worse, coming off a 49-28 loss at home to mighty Alabama. Are we ready, Shane, to flip Alabama as the number one team in the SEC? That was the biggest critique I got in my power rankings this week. I still got Georgia number one. What do you say after seeing Alabama just destroy Arkansas?
I'm with whoever complained about your power rankings, Mike. Usually I don't. I just ignore it because I'm probably going to be hurt,
Yep.
But I'm looking at it and I was like, well, this is clear-cut Alabama number one, right? They just beat Arkansas. They didn't go, to death's doorstep with Mizzou here. But I'm watching it and you came out and they were flip-flopped. Now, I can't really complain because I think Alabama and Georgia is a 1A, 1B right now.
Yeah.
But I kind of do because Alabama's dominant. That defense is fantastic. We're going to talk about that game here in a second, but just coming from what I just saw and they allowed Arkansas to get back in that thing and get it interesting, but with the backup quarterback, they pulled away again. So I think that's just showing you, where this Nick Saban-led program is. And right now, they are the best team in the SEC, in my opinion.
Ooh, well, they did rush for 317 yards, Shane, on 42 carries, 5 touchdowns against the Razorbacks. That just killed them. I mean, these big runs. And I really thought, Shane, I don't know about you, but when Bryce Young, we don't root for injuries or anything like that. I know I picked Arkansas. I was not celebrating that. But when he went down, Arkansas got some momentum, and I'm sitting here saying, oh, my God, it's going to happen. Arkansas is going to win this game. But we got to give credit to 2 guys, Shane. Jalen Milroe, backup quarterback, come in. He's my clutch player of the week with just a huge, huge run that really, after that happened, it was like a backbreaker for Razorbacks because they had some momentum going, and it was all she wrote right there. And Jahmyr Gibbs, offensive player of the week, Shane, how could it not be? 18 carries, 206 yards, 2 touchdowns. They stepped up big time with Bryce Young going down on the road, hostile environment to beat the Razorbacks here. Look, you mentioned that defense, Shane. Look at Arkansas's drive chart. I mean, this is why they really lost the game. They come out punt, 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 fumble, punt, punt. 3 of the first 6 drives are 3 and out. Now, they got some momentum. Touchdown, punt, touchdown, field goal, touchdown, but then punt, field goal, punt, downs. I mean, they petered out real quick there at the end with KJ Jefferson out of the lineup, of course. But, man, this is just a devastating blow. And I'm seeing a lot of Arkansas fans, Shane. I mean, they are 1 foot on that edge of that cliff. But I sit here and say, well, yes, I picked you to beat Alabama. That's shame on me. But you got worked by a team Shane just said is the best in the SEC. Obviously, you should not have lost to A&M. But I think every game the rest of the way on your schedule, I'm not saying you'll win it, but these are games you should compete with. You should win a bunch of them. I'm not hitting the panic button just yet. unless maybe KJ's out for the year or something. And there's absolutely no indication that's going to be the case. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this is not the time to panic. This is not the time to spiral, and that's what I was afraid of with the Razorbacks. You know, we talked about this possible scenario multiple times in the offseason. There was a shot they win both these games, Texas A&M and Alabama. There's a shot they lose one of them, or, what if they lose both of them? What happens? And one of the biggest things we discussed when we were doing that was the possibility of this, well, fold it up, we're done, there's still a real shot that you could go 10-2. Who doesn't want that record? Who does? That makes it easier for you to recruit more 4- and 5-star talent to your program and momentum. And I this is the last program you need to give up on, because it can be worse. Okay, there was a coach that went down to Auburn and then went to Texas as a high school coach. He used to be your guy. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You've come from the bottoms, the depths of the purgatory of the SEC, and now you're competing with Alabama. There was a real opportunity for you to have that game. Was there some questionable calls in here? Yes. Was there some questionable penalties in here? Sure. It's Alabama. I think it comes with it. No, I'm just giving. I give Alabama a hard time. They know that. But one of the things that drove me nuts was there was some times that we needed to be aggressive. I think a little more aggressive. And, one of the ones that was glaring at me when it was 4th and 1, and I don't care if it's on that side. I've got one of the biggest offensive lines in the country. Yep. I've got the most physical quarterback in the country. If there's no reason I can't get 1 yard, I don't deserve to play Alabama and expect to win. So, I think there was a few plays like that really screwed it changed the whole, because when you felt it, when the fans were into this thing, Mike, and they thought they had a real opportunity, that place was violent. It was tough to play. It felt, we were right there. And if we could have, and I say we, because I bought into it, man. I was into it. Mike's texting me and tweeting me and all this stuff. He's pumped up. I'm pumped up. There's a real shot Alabama may lose to Arkansas here, But when they took their foot off the gas and they made a couple of those boneheaded mistakes we talked about coming into this game, it blew their opportunity. And so that's what I hate, is because you rehash games like this and there are opportunities. There was moments in that game that they could have not only took the lead, but they could have sustained it. They could have won this game. But, if ifs and buts or candies and nuts, we'd all have a wonderful Christmas, Mike.
Yeah, and it was interesting, Shane, because they're kicking on sides, that was a great execution. But like you said, they're like punting on 4th and short when you got a monster O-line, a monster quarterback, all these great running backs. Rocket Sanders had over 100 yards. We got to give him credit. Still leads the SEC in rushing, I believe. But you just have to play balls to the wall here if you're going to beat Alabama. You cannot be conservative whatsoever. And I thought when the Arkansas defense, they got that interception of Bryce Young early in the ball game. Those are the breaks you need. But there just weren't enough of them. And I don't really fault them on, they were coming after Bryce. We said all week, that's the only way they're going to slow him down. Got to get to him. It's going to expose you on the back end, and it certainly did. Credit a lot of these Alabama young receivers for stepping up. Some players are emerging, Shane, which makes Alabama that much more dangerous. Guys that were not making plays against Texas, couple weeks later, they're making big-time plays for the Crimson Tide. But lack of tackling and execution on defense is killing you. Again, we're just at the state of this program, Shane, where you lose a Jalen Catalon, you just can't make that up.
Right.
And you got guys banged up. It is what it is right now for Arkansas. I'm not sitting here hitting the panic button. You lost to a team at 99 out of 100 times you play them, you're going to lose that ball game. You need all the breaks to go your way, and you got to execute. They didn't get the breaks, and they didn't execute, and this is what happens. Alabama comes in here, and they beat you upside the head. You know what?
Yeah. Well, and Mike, it doesn't get easier. They got 2 top 25 teams coming to town, so there is no time to pout. There's no time to let it linger. Snap and clear. This thing's over. We can't bring it back. But like I said, what we can do is we can close out an amazing season. You got 7 more games, 7 more opportunities to remind the country that there's a reason that some of you picked them to be a top team in the West. So I think that's where we're at now with Arkansas. It's not pack it up. It's just, hey, we got some more, because it could get ugly if it does spiral and you lose to Mississippi State or you lose to BYU. Then what? That's when your recruits saying, well, hell, I don't want to go play for Sam now. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They have really got to keep their foot on the gas here.
Better at.
Nick, how's Bryce?
Bryce has a little AC sprain in his shoulder. We'll have to take it day to day. I think he's okay. He doesn't have a serious injury. We didn't think it was, he could go back in the game today because I didn't think he had much steam on throwing the ball. He's had these before, and in a few days he starts to respond pretty well, so we just have to see how it goes and, play it day to day.
Does the offensive game plan change at all with a different quarterback coming in?
I don't know. I was going to call Jimbo afterwards and tell him exactly what we would do.
When you have to adjust on the fly.
So, if he can hear it in the press conference, then I don't have to call him. So, there are things that Jalen does well. We practice some of those things, and if he has to play, we'll practice him more. So, but I thought he did a good job of managing the game today and, gave our team a chance to win. We scored how many points with him playing quarterback? We had 14 when Bryce was in there, and the rest was when he was in there. So it wasn't all bad.
Coach, how big was that Jalen Milroe run at the beginning of the fourth quarter? Kind of stopped the bleeding there a little, their running momentum.
Yeah, it's stopped the bleeding for sure, because that was 3rd and long, in bad field position, and if we don't make a first down there, they're going to get the ball back, and they're down by 5 and have all the momentum in the game. So that was a huge momentum swing in the game, in my opinion. After that, we played better. After that, I didn't think they played as well.
Downs. How big was that? And they hit a lot of big ones. And that 77-yard run by Milroe, it looked like you had them,
It was huge. I mean, they were down, I think, inside the 20 and 28-23 game, and he went 77, and then they scored a couple of plays later and got it back up to a 12-point game, and we didn't answer on offense. And that was a big play. I was proud, I'm proud of the team for the way we came out and fought back into the game. I mean, we were in it. And but that play right there seemed to take a little bit of the wind out of our sails. And we couldn't convert the next time we had the ball. But that was a big play. And then, obviously Gibbs' run, and I don't think we touched him, so we got to get better. We've got to tackle better. We seem to say it every week, but we got to eat up space better. But on offense, we got to throw the ball better too. We're not. I mean, we're right now we're one dimensional, and we've got to be able to throw and catch and protect and all those things. And it's got to be better, because we can't just turn around and hand the ball off and beat really good teams. We got to do better.
KJ got slammed down and came out for a play and then went back. Can you update us on how he's doing, what you thought of the game?
I mean, he hit his head. I don't know. I don't know where he's at, to be honest with you. Obviously, we didn't bring him back in, so I don't know any more than that.
Sam, you guys made a great comeback, but Alabama, led the whole way, built a big lead, and they do that on a lot of people. That's kind of their MO. How tough is that when you fall behind Alabama, whether it's you guys or anybody else are playing? How tough is it to play from behind?
Well, it's hard. We did it all the whole game last year over there. It was maybe getting close, sort of like today, except we didn't. They didn't end up having the big plays in the fourth quarter. Well, we answered them for most part last year, but I don't know. We're all sad.
The message to the team at halftime, because you just score, you're gonna get the ball. Did you feel like we can get back in this game, and you did.
Yeah, I felt like we'd get back in the game as long as we believe we could get back in the game, you know, and you know, what happens is we've won a lot of games, you know, 12 of our last, whatever it is. And I guess 12 of our last 18 or whatever. But what happens is you got to watch it because we can't revert back to, you know, when we was getting our butt kicked every week, you know, and you got to watch it because it's hard. We've got to have leadership. That's what the halftime was about, the older guys that need to lead and talk, you know, and I think the captains did a nice job at halftime of talking after I got through, but it was just, I'll be honest with you, it was just a challenge to go play hard, and show our character, who we are, what got us here, go out there and play hard. And, you know, we had to make adjustments as a coaching staff, but they had to go out there and play hard, and I thought they did.
Well, speaking of getting ugly, Shane, kicking on down to Starkville, where Mississippi State won 42-24 over Texas A&M. And we'll give Mississippi State their credit here in a second. Hell, I picked this. I thought this was going to happen, but we have to. The elephant in the room, so to speak, Shane. Jimbo Fisher, Mr. Chasing Airplanes over here, also tweeted out, "Fire Jimbo." What do you think? There's, I don't know. Should they keep Jimbo? Is there hope under Jimbo? Is this going to get corrected? Or, I mean, my God, Shane, this is year 5. This is his quarterback, which came in and threw 2 interceptions, including a pick 6. I mean, without Devon Achane, he's just incredible. They got nothing on offense. Yeah, and this is Jimbo's offense. I mean, this is a damn disaster here, and they're stuck with him.
It is painful to watch, Mike. It is absolutely painful to watch A&M out there on offense. I feel bad for the defense. They try so hard, man. They do. They really are a great unit, but they're not getting the accolades because their offense sucks that bad. Yeah. And it's a combination. I know I got some shit online when I said fire Jimbo. You know, I think they should. I mean, honestly, but I don't have $80 million laying around. You know what I'm saying? I'm not that invested. But apparently there are a few boosters getting together and trying to find some money. So, I mean, if you could get another coach down there, absolutely. But this is 2022, Mike. Have you not watched college football? Look at all of them. Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee now. Nobody is running that style of offense. It's almost – Jimbo's offense almost resembles freaking Georgia Tech from a few years back, you know, that you have to purposely game plan for him. And you don't really need to because their quarterback is not playing that well. So I feel bad for the Aggies because there is a lot of hope. There's a lot of momentum with recruiting and there's potential, man. It's so potential, but it's raw and it's young. And so part of you is like, well, we got to give them time. But like you said, year 5, you know, this isn't his first class. This is his 5th class, and we're still making excuses for him. How long are you going to do that? I'm really disappointed, and the fact that there's no change. You know, I'm the first. I know when I mess up. I know when I make a mistake, and I'm typically the first to admit it, unless I'm really, you know, like I said, in this situation, things ain't working. And there's nothing being done. There's no, okay, let's try something different. It's like, no, let's add a few more pages in my damn book I'm going to hold on the sideline. No, Jimbo, it ain't it. I told you last week, Mike, why not relinquish some of the offensive duties to someone else so that he can focus on the full team and not just the lackluster performance in the offense. And maybe that's the spark they need. Maybe try the true freshman. Why not? You know what I'm saying? Just something. We need something here to just kind of wake up that side. The best I saw that offensive play, Mike, was when they were in a 2-minute drill.
Yep.
And you know, that's what people are doing. it's a fast-paced offense. You got to keep going. You can't grind the clock out because you don't have the offense to take that final possession and win a game. You just don't. So,
right.
Yeah, something has got to change down there, man.
Yeah, it looks like Jimbo's doing a tax return over there with his damn play sheet. You know what I mean? But
seriously.
But you hit the nail on the head there, Shane. When they sped it up, I'm sure less thinking out there, just going out there and playing ball. Jimbo blaming it on execution. The plays are there. Well, hell, this is year on year on year. This is an issue. Quarterback is an issue. You're surrounded by all this talent. You got all these receivers. You barely do anything with them. Now, Moose Muhammad had a good game. We'll give him credit. 6 catches, 119. I called out Devon Auchain, 16 carries, 111 yards, 6 catches for 21 yards. But Max Johnson, my goodness, Shane, I mean, he's taking a beating back there. He was a warrior, getting hit left and right, staying tough in the pocket to the point that he got hurt and he had to come out. Like I said, Haynes King comes in there, throws 2 more picks. I am not trying to bag on King, Shane, but 6 of 13 for 49 passing yards. That's like his stat line every time. No touchdowns. So, either he's a great player, but this is just a poor offense, or maybe he's just not that good a player or not a good player in this system. But here's how they fix it, Shane. I agree with you. If there was not a 85, 90 million buyout, I would probably get rid of Jimbo. But we got a lot of momentum here, Shane. We got recruiting momentum. Defense, year in and year out, is awesome. Clearly, the problem is Jimbo and his offense, and I'll tell you how to fix it. I don't know if he, they'll do this, and I don't know if these guys got non-compete clauses, so they may. So you may have to throw all this out. But you go up here, Shane, and you steal away Arkansas offensive coordinator Kendall Browse, who's got years and years of Texas background. He'd love to be in the state of Texas. And then you go to South Carolina and you steal away their wide receivers coach, Justin Stepp, who was at Arkansas and it has been at SMU. He's been at a number of places. He's an elite. That's what you got to do. And it doesn't even have to be those two, but those are just like the perfect marriage. We need up-tempo, fast-paced, new-age offense. Go get you Oklahoma's offense coordinator that was at Ole Miss last year. I don't know if you could get him. He's an Oklahoma grad. But that's what you got to do. And we got to – that's what killed Dan Mullen, Shane. He was too loyal to his assistants. These receivers, they haven't done anything at A&M since the whole time Jimbo's been there. So we got to bring in a receivers coach that knows what the hell he's doing too. Joe Brady – I don't know if you remember that, Shane, but I said that's what they should have been doing during the offseason. Bring in Joe Brady. That may not be realistic because I don't know if he wants to come to college, but hell, pick up the phone, make him an offer he can't refuse, or say, who else could do what you do, Joe Brady? What you did for LSU, you can get that done at A&M. And if they have it, if they just have a competent, I'm not saying they got to be, Alabama good on offense, but if they're Mississippi State good on offense. A&M's a 10-win ball club. You know what?
Yeah, absolutely, man. And that's what's frustrating and infuriating, I think, if you're an Aggie fan, is the fact that you have the pieces. You don't have the recipe. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I don't want to take away, Mike. I feel like we've just been shitting on A&M for a long time, which rightfully so, but I don't want to take away from what Mississippi State did to them. This was a flawless execution of a football game. This is the Mississippi State we signed up for in the offseason.
Yep.
And it felt like, they don't get me wrong, Aggies made it tough. That defense did everything. It's like a dam, it's got a crack and they keep putting a piece of gum in. They did it till half, but then all of a sudden they couldn't do it anymore. And this offense just completely opened up. The defense was playing tenacious like their hair was on fire. Man, it was if you're a Mississippi State Bulldog fan, you're very, very happy bouncing back with that awesome victory, man.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. So let's shift it to Mississippi State side, Shane. They scored on offense, obviously. They scored on defense with a pick six. They scored on special teams. They blocked a field goal, returned it for a touchdown. It is rare that a team in an SEC matchup scores all three phases of the game. Credit to them. They forced 2 red zone turnovers of A&M. That's how you win these games. Will Rogers, this is the Will Rogers we thought we were getting, Shane. 31 of 45, 329 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. And this is probably the biggest thing. Mike Leach is, he'll never go full Georgia Tech offense. This is not going to be a run first, but hey, they committed to it, brother. 24 rushes, 144 yards on the ground, and a touchdown. Johnson had 68, Marks had 54, and that was key to winning this football, just that balance. If people are going to dare you to run it on them, now he's willing, because he's got 2 good running backs, he's willing to do that, and it paid off in a big, big way. And one last guy I want to shout out, Shane, Defensive Player of the Week, Emmanuel Forbes, 2 interceptions, including the pick 6. That was the backbreaker in this ball game. Just a complete effort by the Bulldogs. This is the Mississippi State we thought we were getting, and now you're getting an Arkansas that's limping and hurting. It's a real opportunity, Shane, to get some big-time momentum rolling there in Starkville.
Coach, after the loss to LSU, you mentioned how this team struggled with some adversity issues, but it seemed like every time that A&M had got something going, whether it was a penalty, big play, y'all responded. Have you kind of seen that shift in practice, or was this kind of a pleasant surprise for this day?
It's kind of shifted in practice. We got a highly motivated group that wants to do well and can sometimes press a little bit, because they're very eager to do things well. And so sometimes it's important to stay composed and just have the patience to do your job over and over again until things come your way. And so I think we've gotten better at that.
John.
Mike, Brandon let me know that you're now 9-4 against Texas A&M. You've won your last 2 games against the Aggies. Do you feel like you kind of have A&M's number a little bit?
I don't know. I hope so. Well, I thought it was 10-3, but no, they're a great team, and it's always fun to play. And of course, a great legendary team, both on and off the field. So, yeah, it's always fun to play A&M.
Have you had any shake in confidence at all in your offensive system?
No. System plays are there, and we're there, and we just got to execute. We got to coach them better. That system's the same system a lot of people use, and what's going on. It's plays are there. We execute. We see we're in the red zone, ready to score, ready to hit it. We just got to pick it up and go.
Why isn't it clicking though, Jimbo?
We're not executing. We got guys take a turn, he takes a turn, we take a turn, whatever. We got to coach them better, make sure they're in that position and do it. And that's just, can't press harder. Got to go easier. I mean, we had chances to make plays multiple times in the game, and we got to do it. And we got to make sure we're getting them called right, get them right, make sure they execute it right, pick it up, look at the twist, and we'll look at the film and see where we go wrong.
I know one loss isn't a means to overreact, but when you look at where you are in year 5, do you feel like the program is still taking steps?
Yeah, listen, we got good players, and we'll keep going. We'll keep sawing wood and do the things we got to do and get there. When we're not where we want to be, no doubt. Got to get better.
All right, final game here, Shane. Woo, man, another night game class. See, they just throw these games on at night. It's a classic. This was our wager of the week for both of us. Don't forget, check out the wager app. Compete against us. We're so awful on the wager app now, Shane. It would be wise for everybody on here to jump on that app. Remember that promo code SEC. They'll give you a free $20. Just jump on that wager app and just fade our picks. You're guaranteed to get a winner, because I thought Auburn had a guaranteed winner here, Shane, but they drop it to LSU 21-17. Man, Auburn was up 17-0 in this game, Shane. Got outscored, obviously, 21-0 on the back half and lost this damn ball game. Let me tell you, I don't know that this has ever happened, Shane. I don't know if you can think of a game, but LSU had 5 passing yards in the second half, and they won this game. I mean, how ridiculous is that? 5 passing yards in an SEC ball game all on the road, and you win. Oh, my God. But Coy Moore.
Sounds like A&M again, huh? It's funny. You mentioned wager. It's people have been waiting for this moment for a long, long time,
Yep.
When I start hitting, they're like, something don't sound right, you know. But then as soon as I start losing, I am back. The Grim Reaper's back, baby. So every time I get a bet in there, you might as well come up there and collect my money.
Yeah, and that one guy, I feel bad for him, Shane. Auburn receiver Coy Moore. He was at LSU last year. He did some podcast. Apparently, he said, I'm better than anybody over there at LSU. Well, that was the wrong thing to say because he was the one that threw the interception on the trick play near the goal line. Mm-hmm. No idea what in the world he was thinking. There was no one even to throw it to. He just throws a baby duck up there that's picked off, and he got stripped by Greg Brooks. That was really the backbreaker. Auburn had some momentum. Just a rough day for Coy Moore. But look at this LSU drive chart, Shane. And again, they won this ball game. Punt, 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 touchdown, punt, punt, touchdown, punt, punt, fumble. And you won this game. I mean, this is incredible. I'm a little concerned. We'll have all week to talk LSU Tennessee, but if you play like that against Tennessee, you're going to lose by 60 points because they're going to put up some points on you. Jaden Daniels, 8 of 20 for 80 yards, 16 rushes, 59 yards, and he got banged up. He did not return. Garrett Nussmeier came in there and looked pretty terrible, if you ask me. But, man, just a wild, wacky game. You know what?
It really was, man, and it was kind of brutal to watch. I'm not going to lie. I'm sitting there watching the Mizzou game, and I keep flipping back, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to watch this. Yeah. Because, honestly, when they were kind of going away with it, I said, here we go again. Shane with another bad bet. And so, what I do is I record those, and then I'll zoom through them later the next day. But then, I kept getting tweet notifications, and I was like, what's going on over there? I mean, and then I flip over, and like you said, it was a miserable game. Yeah. The second half, it was I can't remember the name of that movie when they all had to hold on to the football. Was that the program?
All around campus.
Yes, that's what we got to have today on both of these squads, man. Just hold on that football, and if you fumble it in the class, you better get on it first, because if someone else brings that football. It was just fundamentals, and this is what drives me nuts about Kelly, because that's one thing he's really good about is the efficiency of his program. Mm-hmm. Stupid mistakes like that. Nothing against Brian and Auburn, but, they're just trying to survive right now. They're doing anything and everything to orchestrate offense and just keep, it's just Auburn's Auburn. Yeah. I will tell you this, though. What did surprise me, Mike, is these fans never give up.
Nope.
Auburn, I feel bad because they were there, man. They were showing it, and it was loud, and they let this one slip away. Nothing's worse than these type of games is you feel like, oh shit, here it goes, we're going to lose another one. Right. And so I feel bad for the fan base there, but kudos to LSU. 4-1, can't believe it. These guys are playing better than they should, I think, but they keep improving. This wasn't the greatest game, but they found a way to win. They found a way to come back. I don't know if this is a formula you want to use moving forward, 5 yards passing in a half, but everything to get an ugly victory. An ugly victory is still a victory, Mike.
And LSU, I believe, tied for first in the West, Shane. So, like you're saying, nobody gives a damn how you get it done. Just get it done, particularly on the road in the SEC West. And if LSU corrects some of these issues, very, very, very dangerous team. But, man, I think you said it perfectly, Shane. These Auburn fans, they deserve better. And this is not, hell, we just pile on Brian Harsin. But this is the fifth SEC game in a row where Auburn gave up a double-digit lead. And I kind of feel bad even for Brian Harsin, Shane, because, if a couple breaks go here or there, we are talking about a team that has upset, Alabama and LSU. And there's so many games where they had a shot. But they they were up, 28-3 on Mississippi State. It's time and time again. We're like, we put in half a great game of football, and then a half we just collapse. I hate it for them. I hate it for those fans. But, help is on the way, basically. Hopefully, if they get that hire right. You know what?
Well, what scares me, Mike, is the next 4 opponents, I think their combined record 17-3. So it doesn't get any easier for Auburn. Like the games that they could win, they almost blew Mizzou. Yeah, and they came out, they blew this opportunity. These are games Brian needed. This is games that Auburn needed. And the fact they didn't get away with that one, I mean, like I said, it does not get any easier down there.
So this game, it's an emotional game, and we all know that for those who love the game. And I want to ask you get asked a lot of questions. There's a lot of criticism, of course, that you've heard. How do you manage that? We hear the players backing you. I know you said last week you want to avoid the outside distraction. But what are you doing as a coach to make sure that you're not letting that take over, especially in a game where you don't have control what happens on the field as coach?
Yeah, I think it's really like it's life. I mean, it's the same thing. Control what you can, right? I mean, that's really what it comes down to. It's the same message you tell your players, and the same things you learned over your career as a player and a coach, and all the things you do. I think just as a person, in whatever profession you're in, like control what you can. All right, what happens for us every week, we get a chance to go out there and people get to see what we have put together every Saturday. All right, and that's what we get judged on. We get judged on what we do every Saturday, and that's the reality of it. That's the test every week for us. There's a lot of things that we do from Sunday through Friday that's really good, and then on Saturday, that's what everybody gets to see, and we know that. That's what you sign up for. But I think the number one thing for everybody is just control what you can control. And I think for every player in there, these guys are 18 to 22, and the message is clear, like, it's your life, all right? It's not anybody else's, and that's the one thing. And people may have opinions on that, but it's your life. And what are you gonna focus on, right? And that's got to be the number one thing, I think, for every single one of us, is just focus on the things you can control. What can you do better? You always have to self-assess, all right? There's that, and then take that and try to improve. And I mean that too, win or lose. Sometimes winning covers up a bad, maybe the standards aren't what you wanted it to be, but you still win the game. And to me, that's what you have to take away from it, all right, and learn from it. It's a challenge. It's a challenge every single week for all of us to do that, and that's part of football. That's what you sign up for, and those are things that, I think overall in the long run make you better. All right, it's just how you handle those things. How do you respond? When you have something that's not going your way, how are you going to respond to it? Because you can quickly turn it around if you respond the right way. And if you don't, then, it's going to continue to be something that affects you until you figure out how to do that.
And then just real quick, Shane, we don't want to just completely overlook this, but Florida beat Eastern Washington 52-17 here on Sunday morning. And if you caught any of that, Anthony Richardson, my goodness, Shane, he came out beautiful 75-yard pass. I think it was touchdown. He's out here. He's making these guys look like clowns out here running around. I mean, he's on another level. He got banged up, left the game, but it was clear, Shane. It was like, well, do we need a quarterback against this team? So, got to keep him healthy for Missouri coming up. Eastern Washington scored 2 touchdowns late in this game to make it look like they kind of were competitive, but this was just a complete domination, and this is what you want after coming off a tough loss under Billy Napier. Continue to improve, just destroy these cupcakes, move on to the next week. Don't embarrass yourself.
Absolutely, and build Anthony Richardson confidence. I think coming off that Tennessee game, we were always, I'm not saying we were worried about a letdown here, but that's just, again, it's a confidence booster. It's a reminder that you are great, and that's one thing that, even though I give Dan a hard time, it's what he talks about. Sometimes when you're expected to be the guy, the alpha dog, it gets between your ears, and I think maybe it did a little bit. He got a little rattled. But I feel like he's coming out on the backside of this a better quarterback, and this is just a continuation of that. Not even a fun game to watch. It was just, it was a stat gaining game. It's NCAA. This is how you win your Heismans, Yeah. So this one's over with. We could put it behind us. But I was a little worried when he went in the tent, Mike. I sent you a text, but apparently that's going to be okay. So everybody can breathe now.
Now, last thing, Shane, we always like to hit on the opening lines for the upcoming week. And here's the beautiful part, Shane. Every SEC team in action this weekend, and they're all playing another SEC team. So,
yes,
man, these are going to be some great games. And let's start with one where Cousin Shane, he may have backed off this by now, but maybe not, predicted upset of the year right here. Ole Miss at Vanderbilt. What do you think the opening line is for this? And hell, Vanderbilt's going to have 2 weeks to prepare for this one.
Yeah, old Swanee comes out there. This may be the best quarterback they've faced yet. Just kidding. Just kidding, Kentucky. Just sorry. That's my little punch. No, I think I think Ole Miss is going to be favored in this one by 20.
Oh, almost hit the nail on the head, Shane. 19.
Okay.
But this could be a very back and forth, high scoring game, no doubt. How about this one, Shane? Auburn at Georgia. This was the CBS game. There's going to be 2 this week, but this will be the first one.
This one's not fair. I think it's 24.5. I think I stumbled across this one.
28.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe it's changed. I don't know. 24.5. I'd put money on. No, I'm just kidding. 28. Okay. 4 scores.
Now, how about Missouri at Florida? And you remember, this is one where if you're not an SEC fan, if you're not a fan of these teams, I can't believe how many people were trashing this week of games. You got to remember, Missouri won this in overtime last year. The year before, there was a brawl, and there was Darth Vader. I mean, I'm not saying these are like the biggest rivals, but this is an interesting game in my opinion, particularly after we just saw Missouri almost knock off Georgia.
Sneaky fun game, and it's kind of like the Kentucky-Florida was a few years back. You know, we didn't give them the respect, but then after a while they started earning it. So, give me Florida. I still think they're going to be favored here by a couple scores. So give me 10.
Bingo! I think you did see these already. Okay,
I did see that one.
Texas,
did
Texas
it sound like I didn't know?
How about this one, Shay? Texas A&M at Alabama.
Okay, believe it or not, didn't see this one. So I'm going to go Alabama minus 26.
I think it opened at 20, but it's already up to 24. So, you're pretty close there. But we don't know if Bryce Young is even going to play in this game. I hope he does. I hope he's fine. But if he doesn't, I mean, I think, even though A&M's so poor, I think I'd jump on A&M just because – I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a lot of points in a game where this is A&M season. You know,
right.
The season may already be lost, but this is everybody's making fun of you. You know, what's Jimbo's buyout? That's probably being Googled more than anything right now. This is an opportunity to smash all that. This has got to be A&M's Super Bowl. I think they make it at least a much more competitive game in 24 or whatever.
Yeah. This is an interesting one. This is when you want to read the tea leaves, maybe find somebody on one of those message boards, and if you see a quarterback commit or don't commit, then you get on there and you make your bet. So, this one's an intriguing one. One I kind of want to stay away from right now. Too many factors.
Now, how about this one, Shane? South Carolina at Kentucky, and don't I know you're not going to forget because we played the clip about 26 times. It's a sunglass game where Mark Stoops, Shane Beamer, they do not like each other. I'm just reading in between the lines, but I know Kentucky hates South Carolina. So
it's an interesting game here, Mike, and I'm still going to give Kentucky the nod here.
Yeah.
By 13?
10. Kentucky by 10.
Okay. Yeah, this is going to be a hell of a game. Yeah, you better believe that stuff's going to be all over the walls up there.
Yep. Now, how about this one? This is annually a tough game, Shane. Arkansas at Mississippi State. And let's just assume KJ's healthy because with the lines out, I think they assume that he is.
Okay, lines out. I'm going to give – here I just talked Mississippi State, but I'm going to give Arkansas the luck. Where's it at?
At Mississippi State.
Ooh.
It'll be a lot of cowbells.
Minus 3. Arkansas minus 3.
Mississippi State minus 6.
Why do I hate the Bulldogs all of a sudden? I don't know.
I think because they broke your heart against LSU.
Man, I don't think you understand, brother. That one destroyed me. I've PTSD from that thing.
Now, last one, Shane. Game of the week here. Tennessee at LSU. I think they're kicking off at like 9 in the morning down there.
Kicking ass at 9 o'clock, huh? So I'm going to go Tennessee minus 14.
4.
Oh, what?
So, again, this is not indicative really of a prediction of the final score, but these people nail it more often than not. So, hey, this could be a dogfight down here. You know what?
Oh, I don't like the sound of that, Mike. I like mine better. That's my big orange hop kicking in. You got me an orange shade again? Haven't seen him in 2 weeks. I'm jonesing for a little volunteer.
But, man, just listen to all those games. There's going to be upsets. There's going to be broken hearts. We just hope it's not Cousin Shane. But there's going to be some madness this weekend in the SEC. There always is when there's this many conference games. You know what?
Mike, there's still couple weeks in now, and we still don't know what's going to happen. You know, a lot of times we've read this SEC story and we said, okay, at the end of the season, these two teams are going to play, and this is how it's going to end up.
Yeah.
But you cannot say that this year, and I love that because it feels like the competition is starting to even out a little bit. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, the fact you got Mizzou going toe to toe with the number one team in the nation is just a glaring spot that anything can happen. It is not over. So I'm ready, brother. I'm ready for some action, and we got those cupcake teams out. They're going to filter back in here in a little bit. We got homecomings coming up around the corner, but it is really nice to watch these SEC, and this is just a glimpse of what's going to happen when we expand and we go to pods. We're going to get more SEC games.
Yep.
So I am here for it, brother.
Well, all right, man. That's all I got, unless you got anything before we hop off the line.
No, I feel like this week is my week to bounce back from gambling, though. So stay tuned for that. I don't like losing. You know what I'm saying? It's been a rough outing, but a lot of people took my money this week, and I'm not a fan of that. So I'm bouncing back, baby. So I'm good. I'm ready for some action. Keep your eyes peeled. For the YouTube channel. Check out the Twitter. You know, as soon as we hear some news about the quarterbacks, because there's a lot of lingering question marks floating around out there, we'll be sure to get that out to you guys.
Absolutely. Well, brother, I appreciate you. As always, appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in. We'll catch you on the next one.
All right. See you guys. Go Vols.